Well, I just said I'm going to do a disclaimer that I've not slept and I've not prepped. So this is going to be on the fly. So the first one I'm thinking is an artist called Tanya Maria. I guess quite like an alternative jazz artist who sings mainly in scat. This is the melody. Da 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 ba dum bum bum ba dum bum ba 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 da ba da dee ba da. So good luck. Find that out. You found it? No, it's not. I'm lying. It's this one. Close though. Similar sound. That's good.
It's really good.
I'll let you enjoy that in your own time. That Tanya Maria really taught me how I could use my voice in different ways, and the idea of using my voice as an instrument and in a very rhythmic way, and it inspired me not, I guess, to be a traditional singer-songwriter in that sense, but just be very experimental with the way you can express yourself as an artist with no words and with melodies that might be traditionally played on other instruments. Just her music was a really big part of my childhood. My parents listened to a lot of Latin music and like Latin jazz fusion. My stepdad was a huge jazz fanatic and my mum was a salsa teacher. So like at home it was just very like world music, you know, very eclectic and a lot of acid jazz and I guess music that's quite intense.
I'm jealous of that.
Really? In my home, more traditional music, it was actually banned. If I'm honest with you, like, yeah, there was no Elvis, there was no Beatles, like it just wasn't, there was none of that, I guess like the core of what is at most children's musical development at that age. I missed that memo because my parents were listening to like free jazz, so go off. Moving on from that, listen, I'm going to really break the rules. We're not doing like song by song because I'm just not in that place mentally right now, but we're going to do like Funkadelic and George Clinton just because that was also such a huge part of my childhood. My mum and my stepdad actually met at Funkadelic concert in Birmingham. They went on their first date there. So yeah, Funkadelic was another really big part of my childhood. I think I was always very inspired by black music that was very alternative and out there and that embraced like the whole world of what it is to be an artist. So if you think about George Clinton, like he has like the fashion and the clothes and artwork, which was like completely psychedelic and so wild. So Funkadelic is like another really big part of my childhood that I think really informed me.
Is there a song in specific by Funkadelic?
Listen, no, not today.
The whole thing?
This is the whole thing, the whole discography. Oh, Maggot Brain, yeah, that would be, but I don't want to even go with like the easiest answer. I want to find like a deep cut, I'm joking. You can find a deep cut, you pick yours. They're all great. Okay, we're gonna move on to Aaliyah now, actually. The one that's really like coming to mind right now for some reason is probably 4-Page Letter. You don't even notice me. I think just the way that Aaliyah used the tone of her voice to be so sensual with beats, like obviously a lot of them were done by Timbaland around that era and shortly after. I just loved how strong and how feminine she was. She had such power in her music, but she never would belt. It was so different because obviously we were coming off the back of other R&B artists with incredible huge voices, like even like Boys to Men and these kind of like huge, like, you know, sing your Whitney, Mariah, like all these like amazing like huge singers. And then for me as a teenager, Aaliyah just really cut through because she was so chill. And even today I really remind myself of her energy in the sense that when she did music videos, her dancers are giving a 9 or a 10 out of 10 with energy, the way they're dancing, and she's giving a solid 6, and she stands out so much. She's giving a clean mark and a sexy 6 with facials and looking gorgeous, and I'm always like, wow, to me that's a star. She had this vulnerability that really subverted what it meant to be a huge star, which I've definitely maybe related to and been inspired by, and yeah, she was gorgeous.
Her video clips made me I wanted to be that woman.
Yeah.
Who I wanted to be gay, and
yeah,
I turned out gay.
You turned out gay, not Aaliyah. Fab. Okay, now I'm gonna really like switch it up. We're gonna go Britney. We're gonna go to a song that I think We can do our fact checking, but as far as I know, I think it's the only song that Britney wrote and came with the idea to the table, and it's Every Time.
Every time I try to fly, I fall without my wings.
That for me is when I really connected with Britney, like as a teenager. It's when I was like, oh wow. She's like running in the video, she's like fighting for life, like running through, yeah, it's fab. She's like running through the hospital, and her voice is so pretty, and the melodies are really unusual for her. Like it's almost like Celtic in a way. I don't know, it just has this like, I always think when I'm writing songs, some songs sound like a woman standing on the edge of a mountain or on the edge of a cliff, and you just like sing into the wind, you know, like Pocahontas moment. That for me, you know Colours of the Wind, Pocahontas. Yeah, like that for me is Britney's Colours of the Wind, Pocahontas. It's like you're just singing on the edge of a mountain, and you're just completely like, just like relenting, like the wind could just take your body and the leaves were just like in your hair, and it's just you and the wind and nature, and yeah, that's how I feel. Like
that's the best parallel, like Britney and Pocahontas.
Britney Every Time, and I think also as well because Britney was such a huge star and a lot of her songs were written for her and pitched to her and given to her, that it's funny that I think for a lot of people, specifically when you look back at her legacy, that's a song that somehow really cuts through because that's her. You know, the thing is about Britney, like, it's all we've ever loved is her, you know, with all the bells and whistles, and so that's been, it's a hard lesson to learn, like when you're an artist, and I'm still learning it, that all that people really want is you, so the more that you can be that, the more that people will understand your point of view. So that song's very inspiring.
That's just a brand new documentary about Britney that just came out this week.
Oh, really?
So I could cry just listening to you.
Oh, really?
No,
don't cry.
she's the best.
Yeah, she's the best. My favourite song as a teenager was LL Cool J. I think it's called like Doing It Round, Doing It and Doing It and Doing It Round.
Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Doing it and doing it and doing it well.
Oh, I loved that song. I was maybe 16 or 17 and I went to a dance workshop. We did a choreography to that piece of music. Like usually how it works at dance workshops is all the dancers learn the choreography and then you do it in groups afterwards, and then at the end the choreographers picks their favourite ones. And that was like the first time I ever got picked to go forward because there was just something about the music, it made me move in a different way. The beat's so sexy and like really like feeling like the way that my body was moving to that music, and it's very hypnotic. And afterwards I went up to the choreographer and I asked him what the song was because he was from America. This is also, you have to remember, this is pre-internet and pre-YouTube, you know, so you had to go up and say like, what's that song?
I was nothing.
I was not nothing. I was like very much alive and kicking. But this is like pre all those things, and so I had to go up to the choreographer and he burnt me a CD. But at the time you would have to write, like hand write. You could get the CD in like a floppy sleeve, and then there would be something that you could hand write all the tracks on. So he gave me 18 songs and he hand wrote them all out, like the artist and the thing. And I got it, and it was all these songs from America from artists that I hadn't really heard before, and it was all these like really cool mixes. And I remember just feeling so cool, like just being, oh, no one knows about this. There's an Arthur Russell song, we can find out what it's called. I think it's called like, oh, it's one of his like main ones. Let's have a look. Oh, this one. It's this one. Yeah. Get around to it.
Tell me what the girl does to the boy if you can get around to it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I really love all the cyclical melodies and beats. It sounds like he's using a lot of like looping and kind of like analog drum machines and like looping. And he's finding all of the spaces to sing that aren't the most obvious thing, you know? So the beats starting and then it's like, tell me what the boy does to the boy if you can get around to it. Like it's like just finding like all of the gaps. And I find that so amazing. Like someone else that does that completely in his own way was the earlier James Blake projects as well. The one which is like, my brother and sisters don't speak to me.
My brother and sister don't speak to me, but
I don't mind it. It's just like the way the melody comes in, it's like you never expect it. I guess Keep It and Hold It is an example of that.
What have I gotta do? Just keep it walking, hold it.
The that kind of way of writing where it just doesn't matter, like you just sing it where it feels good and put yourself second to the beauty of the rhythm and the beauty of the beat, you know, because in pop writing it's like voice first and like lyrics first, you know. An example, I'm trying to think of my own example so I don't get cancelled. Perfect Stranger.
And I don't care.
Do you feel I don't know and I don't care. Like everything is happening around the vocal, whereas a song like Keep It and Hold It or Arthur Russell or James Blake, it's like the voice is fitting in around what the music's happening, which I find really exciting as a songwriter because you're sometimes actually putting the melody in the music as the hook of the song. So in Keep It and Hold It, do 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 is actually the hook of the song, and I'm playing seconds to that, which feels amazing to me. Like as a songwriter, I think that's where I get excited by music. There's a couple of songs where Lewis and I were really enthralled by William Orbit as a producer. You know, his sounds and just the way to use analog instruments. We tried to do everything manually in real life, even if it was working with machinery, twist the knobs by hand so it didn't have this laptop feel. Because I've always been really like concerned about being the girl stuck in a laptop whilst making music. It's very easy, specifically, I think, for women just to become at the whim of like this incredible production and you just sort of fade away into the background. But William Orbit had this way of always putting the woman, because I've only had actually, I think, female artists that he worked with first. So if you look at All Saints, The Beach or Madonna, the character of the female voice was always somehow first, and the experimentation was purely there to support their like sensuality and their character. So yeah, Lewis and I spoke about that. And I mean, listen, there's lots of different vibes on the album, but there's definitely like a couple of moments that we were inspired by that.
And is there a song that he worked on that could be on your playlist?
I've told you that I didn't prep, and now you're making me look naughty. No, there isn't. I'm joking. Yeah, there will, of course there will be, but I just can't really think of it right now.
I'll pick a deep cut.
Yeah, you can pick a deep cut. Go on.
I can't carry these sins on my back. Don't wanna carry anymore.
It's a collaborative. The first ever. You have to come in then and pose at the end.
Yeah.
Recent contemporary music?
Yeah.
Honestly, no. Probably like the most contemporary would be someone like Ye, you know. When Ye's on it, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna pick this as my song, but like even something like Carnival, like his last like biggest hit, like I've just never heard anything like that.
This the Game of Thrones, Yeezy not the clones, Elon with my rocket ship.
I think a lot of Ye's music really does that for me. I mean, I can pick a Kanye song.
I was listening to Sticky,
Oh yeah.
and there's a piano. And I linked it to the piano bar on Blame Game.
Oh, okay. Play it for me.
Whose fault?
It's beautiful.
The use of piano.
Well, actually, Ye has a idea about pianos because it's universal. Well, I'm going to really paraphrase him and it's going to be wrong, but I remember, from what I remember, he was saying that piano is a really universal instrument, like everybody understands what it is to them, whereas certain instruments are really attributed to a certain race of people or a certain country. You know, different instruments have like such strong personalities that come in. Like if I suddenly started like put a didgeridoo on a song, automatically it would take you somewhere that you can't escape. Whereas the idea of a piano is it always takes you home, because everyone in some way has grown up either with a piano in their home or, you know, in their church, or a piano teacher, or a song that they've known from when they were a kid that is not about culture, it's not about what colour you are, it's not about the class of what you are, it's about home. For me, like one of my songs would be like Cellophane.
Didn't I do it for you? Why don't I do it for you?
Is that as soon as a piano comes in, it kind of hits you, and I don't think it would be the same if it was guitar. It would automatically put you in a different place. But let's pick a Ye song. Let's pick Black Skinhead, let's pick.
I've been a menace for the longest, but I ain't finished. I'm devoted, and you know it, and you know it.
we have your live songs now. We know everything about you now. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Konbini.